Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Britain ready for next flight, after halting first plane of refugees to Rwanda by Danica Kirk updated June 15, 2022, 5.19 first published at 7.48 am. Save login, register or subscribe to save articles for later. Share normal text size, larger text size, very large text size. London, Britain has vowed to fight any further legal challenges to its new asylum seeker policy, after being forced to cancel the first deportation flight to Rwanda following a last-minute intervention by the European Court of Human Rights. The court on Tuesday, Wednesday 8, decided there was a real risk of irreversible harm to the asylum seekers involved. The flight had been scheduled to leave on Tuesday evening, London time, but lawyers for the asylum seekers launched a flurry of case-by-case appeals seeking to block the deportation of everyone on the government's list. The Rwanda deportation flight at Boscombe Down Air Base in Britain. Credit, Getty. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced an agreement with Rwanda in April in which people who entered Britain illegally would be deported to the East African country. In exchange for accepting them, Rwanda would receive millions of pounds in development aid. The deportees would be allowed to apply for asylum in Rwanda, not Britain. The policy was inspired by Australia's system of detaining asylum seekers on Pacific Islands. British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss had said the plane would take off no matter how many people were on board. But after the appeals, no one remained. British media reported that the number of potential deportees had been more than 30 on Friday. Two British courts previously refused to block the flights, rejecting appeals by immigration rights advocates. Protesters stand outside the High Court during the hearing on the Rwanda deportation flights in London. Credit, AP. After the flight was cancelled, Home Secretary Priti Patel said she was disappointed but would not be deterred from doing the right thing. Our legal team are reviewing every decision made on this flight and preparation for the next flight begins now. The message was repeated by another senior minister, Therese Coffey, on Wednesday. The most important thing is that we tackle this issue right now. We'll go back, I'm sure, to ECHR to challenge this initial ruling, Coffey said. We will be preparing for the next flight. Coffey was asked if Britain would consider changing its relationship with the European Court, which is part of the 46-nation Council of Europe. Right now I'm not aware of any decisions or hints even about that, she said. A placard left outside the High Court in London. Credit, AP. The Rwandan government said it was not deterred by the development. Rwanda stands ready to receive the migrants when they do arrive and offer them safety and opportunity in our country, government spokesperson Yolande Makolo told Reuters. The flight cancellation capped 3 days of frantic court challenges where immigration rights advocates, charities, religious leaders and labor unions sought to stop the deportations and accused the government of waging an illegal and inhumane battle against asylum seekers. The leaders of the Church of England called the government's policy immoral. Refugee Council Chief Executive Enver Solomon said the deportation threat would not serve as a deterrent to those seeking safety in the UK. The government must immediately rethink by having a grown-up conversation with France and the European Union about sharing responsibility and look to operating an orderly, humane, and fair asylum system, Solomon said. Johnson emphatically defended the policy. We are going to get on and deliver, he declared, arguing that the move was a legitimate way to protect lives and thwart the criminal gangs that smuggle migrants across the English Channel in small boats. Soldiers patrol at Boscombe Down Air Base. Credit, Getty. Britain in recent years has seen an influx of migrants from such places as Syria, Afghanistan, Iran, Sudan, Iraq and Yemen. Activists have denounced the policy as an attack on the rights of refugees that most countries have recognized since the end of World War II. Politicians in Denmark and Austria are considering similar proposals. Australia has operated an asylum processing centre in the Pacific island nation of Nauru since 2012. AP, Reuters. Get a note directly from our foreign correspondents on what's making headlines around the world. Sign up for the weekly What in the World newsletter here. Thank you for reading the Herald. This article is complimentary. Register or log in now to read more articles and unlock extra benefits. No payment required. Read more. Continue with Google, continue with Apple, or email address continue by continuing. You agree to your personal information being collected under a privacy policy and accept our terms of use. Hide content.